Some of the best adventures begin with the most unexpected plans. And for us, this journey started with a train ticket which cost us just €1 each. We took the train to the city of Toulouse. From there, we set off on a mini adventure, a 4-day cycle tour through some really breathtaking landscapes in southern France. In the first episode of this 2-part series, you'll see us cycling the historic Canal du Midi all the way to Carcassonne. From there, we continue our ride through the Aude region, where we'll drop into some medieval towns, tackle some winding roads before stopping in Quillan. In part 2, we take things up a notch, getting into the rugged beauty of the mountains, cycling on some of the most breathtaking roads that carve right through dramatic gorges, and discovering some real hidden gems in the Ariège region of the Pyrenees. But first, let's wind this back to how this adventure all started.
Here we go. Made it and now just waiting for the train.
In our region of France, on the first weekend of every calendar month, there are train tickets which go on sale for just €1 per person each way. So we scored ourselves tickets to Toulouse. An hour and 45 minutes later, we arrived in Toulouse, where we had some time to kill because we'd actually originally planned to catch another train to a city called Narbonne and ride from there. But after a quick breakfast, we thought, why spend hours on a train again when we could simply just ride from here?
Bonjour!
Bonjour!
We have had quite a break between adventures, but we are taking the opportunity to go for a mini adventure. We don't even have a route planned, or even really a set time frame, do we?
No, just a few days away. Took advantage of some €1 each train tickets to Toulouse, and we want to head to a place we saw on another YouTube video called the Gorge de Galamousse.
Yeah.
Which looks absolutely spectacular. As I said, no set route, just
No.
get on the bikes and ride.
And at the moment we are at the Canal du Midi, getting out of Toulouse. It'll be pretty flat for a little bit and the sun is trying to come out. We have our bikes packed. We noticed just before we set off that Steve's rear wheel has a cracked rim, so he's travelling a little bit lighter bikepacking style there, just to save hopefully his wheel. I have got the panniers on the bike and looking forward to it. So anyway, we're camping, we're going to try out the new tent as well. So yeah, here we go, on y va.
The Canal du Midi is a masterpiece of engineering and a link between the past and the present on one of France's most iconic waterways. It was a real perfect way to start the journey and also made for a real easy exit out of the busy city of Toulouse. It was built in the 17th century and was the vision of Pierre-Paul Riquet, who dreamed of connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean without the need for a long, dangerous sea voyage all the way around Spain. Construction of the canal began way back in 1667, and it took 14 years to complete, with over 12,000 workers carving out this 240-kilometre canal into the landscape. Today, the Canal du Midi remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's famous for its 91 locks, stone bridges and shaded towpaths. And we rode along the Canal du Midi for the entire first day of our mini adventure. Navigation was fairly simple, just follow the canal. And we saw our fair share of riders on this canal as well. You can really tell that this is a very, very popular cycling route here in this part of France.
Time for lunch. Lunch of champions. Jambon, beurre, baguette, yop. How good are openers?
Very good. Every camping kit should have them.
Open all. you haven't got one, get one.
Number 9.
Nerf. Number 7's good too. It's got like a butter spreader.
Yes.
But we just bring our own.
And nice and cheap too, about 10 or 11 euro. Beautiful little spot for lunch by the canal. Right across the road from a massive big supermarket to stock up. And some beautiful little picnic tables. One of the many locks.
Very flat, constant pedaling. Where does this rank in my riding preference style?
Down the bottom.
Right down the bottom. But anyway,
But beautiful.
can't be upset because my little feedback get toasted prawn lemon cake made by Good Friends Friend. Thank you, friends. Pavement ends and now we're on the dirt. Bonjour.
Something to be aware of if you are planning to ride this yourself is the actual surface of the canal. From Toulouse to Carcassonne is just around 100 kilometres, and that first 50 kilometre stretch is mostly paved, a well-maintained asphalt towpath. Means it would be great for all types of bikes, including road bikes. But the remaining 50 kilometres all the way to Carcassonne is on more unpaved and rougher terrain. You have a mix of gravel and dirt tracks. It becomes narrower and bumpier, especially from Castle Naudry on. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Bella, didn't you just say it was at Castle Naudry that the path is really beat up? And here you are, riding on seemingly smooth asphalt through Castle Naudry. That is correct, your eyes don't deceive you. In town on this small section is nice and smooth, but the rest of it, not so much. So I would say that section in particular is more suited for touring bikes with wider tyres, gravel bikes, or even some mountain bikes. Just something to keep in mind if you plan to do this for yourself, because the condition of the canal path towards Carcassonne certainly does deteriorate after that first 50 kilometres.
Slight deviation.
Yeah. Okay.
Bad signposting.
You can't always rely on the signpost, but to be fair, it's been tricky, hasn't it?
It has. Beautiful
Tailwind.
tailwind all the way to Carcassonne. The road's a bit over.
Single track and overgrown, and very much feels like one way into Carcassonne. Thoughts?
Someone else on a scooter over there.
Yeah, I didn't see any signs.
No.
Oh well. No. Anyway, almost there. Gosh. 111 kilometres. Very flat, constant pedalling, and ready to set up camp.
Few places in France are as striking as Carcassonne. With all of those towers, massive stone walls and centuries of history, this medieval citadel looks like something straight out of a fairy tale. I swear I was waiting for Rapunzel to let down her hair when I was looking at the citadel. It dates back to the Roman times. Carcassonne's fortress was expanded and reinforced over the centuries. It became an impenetrable stronghold during the Middle Ages, and the city played a real crucial role during the Crusades, the 13th century conflict between the Catholic Church and the Cathars, which was a religious movement that once really thrived in this region of France. By the 19th century, Carcassonne had fallen into absolute ruin, but thanks to a massive restoration project, it was brought back to life, and it's now one of the best preserved medieval fortresses in Europe. And Carcassonne was where we stopped for the day on day one. We stayed at a campground which was located probably just a kilometre or two away from the citadel and away from the city of Carcassonne. We got there late enough in the afternoon that we only had time to really set our camp up before we had to make an about face and quickly head to the supermarket before it closed for the day. It's the horse parade. They blocked the roads when we were getting to the supermarket, and we thought we'd be behind them and they'd be it. Now, no, blocking the roads to the way to the campground. Horses have right of way. Great night here in Carcassonne, and time to get everything packed up. Had a couple of coffees because nothing happens before coffee, right? Ordered a baguette and 2 viennoiseries, 2 pastries for breakfast, which will be ready to pick up soon. It's a great French camp service. And yeah, everything's happening here. How are you feeling, honey? Did you have a good night's sleep?
Great night's sleep.
What do you think of the new tent?
Apart from my pillow
Oh yes.
that I've discovered has a hole in it.
What happened with your pillow?
It deflated.
It deflated.
So my neck's a bit sore this morning. I had to use this puffy jacket as a pillow.
How good are puffy jackets?
They did the trick well.
They did do the trick well.
But all in all, it was a great night. And before I knew it, the birds were chirping this morning.
They chirped quite early. They chirped
did.
at about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so
I was waiting for church bells, and then I realised we're not in a little village and there won't be any. These are our new Helinox chairs. They were a little special gift to ourselves. We've been touring for so long, and sitting on the ground, there's nothing worse than having to spend all day on the bike and then either be in your tent or on the dirt. Ironically, we are at a camp pitch where there is a table we could have sat at, but we got our chairs, so we used them, and these are great. These are the Helinox Zero. They're super lightweight. It is about 500 grams or just under. I was skeptical about how comfy they would be, but they're really comfy. I'll do a proper video of them at another stage. But yeah, anyway, time to pack up, eat breakfast and push on. Fresh baguette for breakfast, and I went for something different than the croissants. I got 2 pan of raisins, one each. I think refuel after yesterday because we didn't really eat too much. But look at that, the sky is blue. And just spoke to a couple of cycle tourists heading off there. They're on the Canal du Midi. And yeah, beautiful day here. Bonjour monsieur, j'ai une baguette et 2 pains au raisin pour le petit déjeuner.
sweet ass.
How good are these? Fresh pain au raisin, and for posterity, these were €1.30 each. I think the baguette was €1.10, a little bit more than you'd pay in a boulangerie, but when you're getting them fresh to the campground, it's pretty good. And this is the campground that we have stayed at, Camping de la Cité. Pretty close to Carcassonne, I think less than a kilometre from the
Citadel.
The Citadel, that's the word I was after. Still got to get changed, pack up. I think we'll have another coffee, another AeroPress, and eat these. Hello. Thought I'd show you my fork bag setup. So I've got two. One is purely just a dry bag, and totally recommend it. Very lightweight, very waterproof. Have tested that out in torrential downpours, has been fine. The other one was actually from Salsa. It came with the Salsa fork cage, but I now just use two Blackburn anything mount fork cages, which has been great. My bike has bolts or attachment points. So with these, it's not a lot of stuff. I've only got very light stuff in here because my forks obviously can't take a lot of weight, but I do find just putting a little bit more balance on the front is really good. And I use, to attach them, these Voiley straps. The Blackburn cages did come with their own straps, but these are gold. I think they were designed in the cross-country ski industry, and they attach. They're very strong and they have never come undone. I also, when I got these ones, found these. They're almost, if you just drop it, they're almost like little watch bands, and they just hold the leftover strap. So I'll show you how I put it on. Normally it takes me a while to figure out which way the overlap's going, and I have it, you cinch it round and I have it so that the extra bit points backwards. Don't need extra wind drag. So you can see here on the Blackburn cages, there's room for 3 straps, but I've only ever used 2. Okay, so on the bottom, literally you cinch it down, cinch it tight, and there you go, and then that's it. Travelled weeks with this type of setup, always served me well, never lost anything, never had any problem with the Voiley straps, so yeah, there you go.
After a full day of riding along the Canal du Midi, today felt like a fresh start. We left Carcassonne behind and headed into the rolling countryside, surrounded by endless vineyards and fields which were bursting with wildflowers. The sky was clear as we set off, and for the first time on this trip we had a real sense of climbing and descending, something we were both pretty happy to embrace after the previous day's relentless flat terrain. We had our sights set on the Gorge de Galamoose today, a dramatic canyon road which promised to be one of the highlights of the entire trip. But for now, it was all about enjoying the moment, those gentle climbs and beautiful sweeping descents.
No idea if you'll be able to hear me or not. We've just been on a really busy road, which is to Lamu, which is where we're sort of heading. Well, it's a marker on our way today, so pulled off to see if there's a better option. It just started to rain a little bit. These lovely red poppies. In Australia we would call these Flanders poppies. In France they're coquelicot. Let me zoom in. Yeah, they're immense. When the sun shines, which it's not currently doing, they really pop. Pop poppies, no pun intended. Master route planner there. And the town of Sepi, the village. And these rain clouds which are spitting big drops, but hopefully not for too long. Stephen's just gone up the road in search of a lunch spot. Found a pretty good one here. Not a bad view. Not sure if that's like the remains of, I don't know, an old house, an old bridge. Yeah, I think it's the River Lord. Pretty sure. A little shaman. Nice spot. Where I'm at's a great spot. There's just nowhere to put the bikes. What about just up on that rock wall?
Yeah.
That'll do. Jambon beurre sandwich with a view.
Nestled along the banks of the Aude River, Alet-les-Bains is a village steeped in history and charm. As we rolled into town, it felt like stepping back in time. There were narrow cobbled streets, half-timbered houses, and the remnants of a large ancient abbey standing as a reminder of the village's past.
It's a very tall abbey. And it's what this village is famous for. Very quiet Sunday. Born Midi, it's just gone past 3 bells. We're on day 2 of our little mini adventure. We woke up in Carcassonne this morning and had plans to reach the Gorge de Galamoose, and we are about 35 kilometres from the Gorge de Galamoose, but we have made the decision we will not be going there.
This trip.
Probably not this trip.
50 metres of climbing stand between us. And at 2:30 in the afternoon, it's just a little bit late in the day, so we've decided just to change our plans slightly. We'll head to Quillan, which is about 20 k's away from here, find somewhere to camp.
Never been there before, so that'll be something new.
And then head back, start heading back tomorrow, so
and then
all being well.
And then onwards back towards our house there.
Over the Col de Périssord,
yeah.
Col de Aspen, and Col de Tourmalet. Or not.
No, I'm going to take the little roads. I might even take the train at some stage. But I think the decision as well leading up to it today, we've had a couple of wrong turns, we haven't had a route pre-planned, so our navigation has been freestyle.
Commuted.
We did get commuted. We were on a road which told us we would arrive at the village which we're currently in about, 4 or 5 kilometres. And then...
dead end.
Yeah, there was nothing but a river.
Property.
A private property, a river and no bridge. So we had to backtrack
5 k's.
And then ride back again.
And when we were on the main road and looking over at where we thought we were going to ride, there was just no road there. There was no way there could be a road. It was on the side of a mountain.
Because you could actually see the road, the main road, from the little road we were at. In fact, we had a lovely picnic there, so that was pretty good. But no, change of plans. Quillan it is today. That'll be lovely. And yeah, there we go.
See ya.
The history of Alet-les-Bains dates back over 1,000 years. It was once a Roman settlement, but it truly flourished in the 9th century when a Benedictine monastery was founded here. The abbey became a powerful religious centre, later upgraded to a cathedral in the 14th century. However, like many places in this region, Alet-les-Bains suffered during the War of Religion and the abbey was left in ruins. Beyond its medieval past, Alet-les-Bains is also famous for something else: its natural mineral springs. For centuries, people have travelled here for the supposed healing properties of its water, and even today you'll find bottled Alet mineral water across France. Riding through, it was easy to see why this place has drawn visitors for so long. The quiet streets, the sound of the Aude River, and the feeling of history all around you ended up being a perfect spot to slow down, take it all in, a reminder of why we love this type of travel in the first place. Now, I will admit, once we realised we wouldn't be able to reach the Gorge de Galamoose, I was feeling a little bit down. It wasn't helped by the fact that we would have an extremely busy road to ride until we reached our destination of Quillan. But we have both learnt that sometimes this is just the way that bike adventures are. You've just got to be flexible and learn to roll with it. Nestled in the foothills of the Pyrenees, Quillan is a town which is shaped by history, nature and adventure. It was once a strategic fortress town and it later became a centre for trade and industry, but today it's really better known as a gateway to the mountains, and tourism is probably one of its main trades as well. The valley winds along the Aude River there, and Quillan is a real paradise for cyclists and outdoor enthusiasts. For us, Quillan was also where the landscape truly started to shift. The gentle hill of the previous day giving way to dramatic gorges, towering rock faces, and the unmistakable feeling that we were going to be heading into something special as we headed towards the high mountains.
Here's our campsite at Quillan. If we were Aussies, we would pronounce it Quillan. Pretty sure it's Quillan. Just zoom in so you can see our view. Even more, let's go again. Wow, pretty impressive. Definitely in the heart of the Pyrenees and definitely away from the flatlands. Washing on the line, feeling good. It's time to have some baguette.
With 2 days of riding behind us, the real adventure was about to begin. Ahead lay some of the most breathtaking roads of the journey.
Wow!
Gorges carved deep into the surrounding landscape, providing us with views on towering cliffs rising all the way around us. It was an unmistakable feeling that we were riding towards something truly special and incredible, and it also felt like we had it to ourselves because it was so remote. In part 2, we take on the spectacular gorges to be found in this area of France. For riding on some of the most quiet roads with breathtaking views leading us deeper into the Pyrenees mountains. This journey was definitely about to get even better. Make sure you join us for part 2.